Did you know John Cena and Randy Orton have faced off over 120 times? That's more than any other pairing in WWE history. But legendary rivalries aren't just about numbers. They're about unforgettable moments and the characters who make us care. Welcome to Today in Wrestling, and today we're diving into the most iconic WWE rivalries ever. These are the feuds that defined eras, elevated superstars, and kept us glued to our screens. From Attitude Era classics to modern showdowns, these rivalries built the company. Let's get into it. Let's start with a rivalry that changed everything. Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Mr. McMahon. This wasn't just wrestler versus wrestler, it was the everyman against his tyrannical boss. Austin, the anti-authority Texan, clashed with Vince, the power-hungry billionaire. The story exploded during the Attitude Era, right after Austin won the WWE Championship. Vince wanted a corporate champion. Austin was the exact opposite. Every week, fans tuned in to see what chaos Austin would unleash on Vince. The feud went beyond the ring into offices, parking lots, even hospitals. Who could forget the bedpan McMahon incident? Austin, disguised as a doctor, smashes Vince with a bedpan. Or the Zamboni moment, Austin drives into the arena, stands on top, and the crowd erupts. Vince was the perfect villain, smug, manipulative, and always scheming. He threw everything at Austin, the corporation, The Rock, Kane, The Undertaker. But Austin kept fighting back, making every victory sweeter. This was more than stunners and middle fingers. It was a clash of ideologies. Vince represented corporate greed, Austin rebellion and individuality. The beer truck moment? Austin drenches Vince in The Rock in beer, a symbol of ultimate defiance. This feud propelled WWE to new heights, crushing WCW in the ratings. Austin 316 shirts were everywhere. Raw's ratings soared. Vince made himself the ultimate villain, getting humiliated week after week for the story. The promos, backstage segments, and wild stunts were as important as the matches. It was a power struggle that felt real. When Austin screamed at Vince, you believed it. When Vince plotted, you felt the injustice. Their dynamic was so compelling, you had to see what happened next. This rivalry was the engine of the Attitude Era. Without Austin versus McMahon, there's no Attitude Era as we know it. It set the tone, drove the narrative, and gave fans a hero and a villain to believe in. Ultimately, it was about defiance. One man refusing to bow to corporate pressure. Austin became a cultural icon because he was authentic, and his fight with Vince was the ultimate expression of that. The legacy? Storytelling is king, and this feud proved it. It showed that the most compelling conflicts often happen outside the ring. Austin versus McMahon created a new blueprint for wrestling rivalries. It was lightning in a bottle. The story of defiance, rebellion, and authenticity made it one of wrestling's greatest tales. It's a rivalry that still echoes through WWE history. The Attitude Era was built on this feud. Austin versus McMahon, the ultimate battle of boss versus employee. It's a story fans will never forget. And it all started with one rebellious rattlesnake. Now, from corporate warfare to the supernatural, The Undertaker versus Kane. This was a gothic family tragedy, a tale of betrayal, fire, and brotherhood. The build-up was masterful. Pallbearer teased the arrival of Taker's brother, thought dead in a fire. At Bad Blood 1997, Kane debuted, 7 feet tall, masked, and terrifying. He ripped the cell door off, confronted The Undertaker, and delivered a tombstone. The crowd was stunned. One of the greatest debuts ever. This rivalry wasn't about titles, it was about family trauma and revenge. The Undertaker, usually unshakable, was haunted by his past. For months, he refused to fight his brother, creating incredible tension. Kane, with Pallbearer, unleashed destruction to force Taker's hand. The supernatural elements were off the charts. Kane summoning fire, seeming invincible. Their first clash at WrestleMania 14 was epic. Taker needed 3 tombstones to win. Even in defeat, Kane looked unstoppable. Over the years, they feuded, teamed up as the Brothers of Destruction, and betrayed each other again. Their relationship was a mix of loyalty and hatred. Only they could truly understand each other. Kane's unmasking revealed a new, more deranged side, keeping the story fresh. Their Inferno matches, surrounded by flames, were the perfect embodiment of their fiery backstory. Pallbearer was the manipulative puppet master, always stirring the pot. This rivalry gave us 2 of WWE's most enduring characters. The Undertaker became more human and vulnerable. Kane became an icon. In the end, it was about brotherhood, twisted, extreme, and unforgettable. Their saga spanned decades with new chapters and callbacks. It's a testament to the power of character and long-term storytelling. The Undertaker versus Kane created a mythology that will live on forever. Their battles were more than matches, they were legends. The fire, the betrayal, the family drama, it was pure sports entertainment. This feud showed how wrestling can tell stories as epic as any movie or comic book. The supernatural, the emotional stakes, the spectacle, it had it all. Undertaker and Kane's rivalry is a cornerstone of WWE history. It's a story of pain, redemption, and the unbreakable bond of brothers. Even after decades, their legacy endures. The darkness, the fire, the drama, it's wrestling at its most theatrical. The Undertaker and Kane, a rivalry forged in hell, remembered forever. It's a tale that proves wrestling is more than just a sport, it's myth-making. And in WWE, no myth is bigger than the Brothers of Destruction. Their story is eternal. Now, from family to friendship torn apart, Triple H versus Shawn Michaels. Once best friends in D-Generation X, their bond shattered by ambition and betrayal. In 2002, Shawn Michaels returned from retirement, hoping to reunite DX. But Triple H turned on him, delivering a shocking pedigree. The game saw HBK as a threat to his spotlight. Their first match, an unsanctioned street fight at SummerSlam, was brutal and emotional. Shawn won, but Triple H attacked him with a sledgehammer, the symbol of their feud. The sledgehammer became Triple H's calling card, always looming over Shawn. Their rivalry escalated in the first Elimination Chamber at Survivor Series. Shawn pinned Triple H to win the World Heavyweight Championship, a comeback for the ages. But Triple H was obsessed with reclaiming his title, leading to their 3 stages of hell match. Street fight, steel cage, ladder match, each more punishing than the last. Triple H reclaimed the title, but the war only intensified. The emotion was raw. You felt the history, the betrayal, the pain. Their promos were electric, rooted in real-life friendship and rivalry. Their final epic clash, Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood, 2004. Nearly 50 minutes of brutality, Triple H barely survived. Shawn earned a standing ovation. They pushed each other to the limit, physically and emotionally. Triple H became the cerebral assassin. Shawn proved he was still Mr. WrestleMania. This rivalry was a masterclass in in-ring storytelling. Technical masterpieces, hardcore brawls, emotional roller coasters, they did it all. Their chemistry was unmatched, every move telling a story. Years later, they reunited as DX, their bond stronger for having survived the war. Their feud showed that personal issues make the best rivalries. It wasn't just about titles, it was about ego, jealousy, and a complicated friendship. The lines between reality and fiction blurred, making the drama irresistible. Triple H versus Shawn Michaels was 2 all-time greats pushing each other to greatness. Their matches and moments stand the test of time. This feud defined an era of Raw and gave us unforgettable battles. It was personal, violent, and absolutely unforgettable. Their story is proof that the best rivalries are rooted in real emotion. Friendship, betrayal, redemption, it had it all. Triple H and Shawn Michaels, a rivalry for the ages. Their war made them legends, and their friendship, tested by fire, became unbreakable. This is what wrestling is all about. 2 friends, 2 rivals, 1 legendary story, the game versus the Heartbreak Kid, unforgettable. Now, to the modern era, the man versus. The Queen Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair. 2 women who went from allies to bitter enemies, redefining what was possible for women in WWE. As part of the 4 Horsewomen, they changed the perception of women's wrestling. But Becky often found herself in Charlotte's shadow, fueling a simmering jealousy. The breaking point, SummerSlam 2018. Becky was about to win the title, but Charlotte stole the victory. Becky snapped, attacking Charlotte, and the crowd erupted. WWE wanted Becky to be the villain, but fans saw her frustration as justified. The man was born, an anti-authority self-made superstar. Charlotte became the perfect entitled villain, the corporate favorite. Their matches were personal and brutal, especially their last woman standing match at Evolution. Becky retained her title, solidifying her status as the man. Their rivalry was fueled by sharp promos and social media jabs. Charlotte boasted about her pedigree. Becky fought for every opportunity. It was the chosen one versus the people's choice. The iconic moment, Becky, bloodied but unbowed, leading the Raw invasion. That image became legendary, making her even more popular. The feud grew, eventually including Ronda Rousey, leading to the first women's WrestleMania main event. Becky pinned Ronda to win both titles. Becky 2 belts had arrived. This rivalry proved women could carry the company. Becky became a crossover star. Charlotte, the perfect antagonist. Their feud broke barriers, showing gender doesn't matter when you're a top-tier superstar. Even after WrestleMania, their paths kept crossing, the tension always there. Their history is too deep, the animosity too real. This rivalry will define both their careers. They pushed each other to new heights, changing WWE forever. Becky versus Charlotte, a revolution redefined. They didn't just have great women's matches, they had great matches, period. Their promos, their chemistry, their passion, it set a new standard. They proved the audience was ready for complex, long-term stories centered on women. Their rivalry is a landmark in wrestling history. The man and the queen forever linked, forever rivals. They changed the game, and the women's division will never be the same. That's the legacy of Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair. Now, the pinnacle, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Rock. This was Ali versus Frazier, Magic versus Bird, two icons at their peak colliding on the grandest stage. Austin, the beer-swilling anti-authority brawler. The Rock, the most electrifying man in sports entertainment. Their first major clash, WrestleMania 15. The Rock, the corporate champion, Austin, the rebel. Austin reclaimed the gold, but this was just the beginning. Their chemistry was off the charts. Legendary promo battles, unforgettable matches. By WrestleMania 17, both were the top babyfaces, the stakes higher than ever. The build-up, the My Way video package, it was about being the absolute best. The match was an all-time classic, but the ending shocked everyone. Austin joined forces with Vince McMahon to beat The Rock. The ultimate anti-hero had sold his soul for victory. It was a moment that ended the Attitude Era and changed everything. Their rivalry was built on respect and a burning desire to be number one. The Rock's rise forced Austin to stay at the top. Austin was the mountain The Rock had to climb. They were the two pillars of WWE's greatest era. Their final chapter, WrestleMania 19. The Rock, now a Hollywood heel. Austin, the beloved veteran. The Rock had done it all, except beat Austin at WrestleMania. After 3 rock bottoms, The Rock finally won, in what would be Austin's last match. A quiet moment of respect closed their epic saga. This rivalry propelled WWE to its biggest business boom. Austin and The Rock became global icons, transcending wrestling. Their faces, catchphrases, and matches became part of pop culture. The feud had everything: clashing personalities, classic matches, shocking twists, and the highest stakes. It was about proving who was truly number one. When you think of the Attitude Era, you think of Austin versus Rock. Their feud was the main event of main events. No fancy gimmicks, just two of the best ever, fighting for the top spot. There will never be another rivalry like it. The combination of star power, charisma, and in-ring magic is unmatched. Austin versus Rock was the ultimate money-making, era-defining feud. It's the greatest rivalry in WWE history. Their battles set the standard for what wrestling could be. They made each other legends. The Attitude Era was built on their war. Austin and The Rock, the rivalry that defined a generation. Their story is wrestling's greatest epic. Two icons, one stage, endless memories. The Rattlesnake versus the Great One, unforgettable. Their legacy will never fade. This is what wrestling is all about. Austin versus Rock, the greatest rivalry ever. And it still echoes today. From blood feuds to family drama, WWE rivalries are the backbone of wrestling storytelling. They make us cheer, boo, and sometimes even cry. And as long as there's a ring, there will always be two wrestlers fighting for greatness.